On this episode of Retro Car Guy 530, I'm going to unbox and review the TACKLIFE T8-Newer, the revised version of the Jumpstart battery pack from 2020. I'm going to go through the various ports on the device, give you a couple examples of some of the protection features in the Jumpstart accessory here, which plugs into the side of it, and see how it works. So let's get into it. A couple of weeks ago, I started my quarterly recharging of the Jumpstart battery packs that we carry in our various vehicles, and when I came across the 2014 Chevrolet Caprice PPV, the Jumpstart pack in that particular vehicle, I noticed that it wasn't charging 100%. Plus, when I reviewed the specs of that particular unit, it had a 500 maximum amp availability during Jumpstart mode, and that vehicle has a 6-liter gas engine and an 800 cold cranking amp battery. This didn't seem like it would be up to the task any longer, so I started researching a replacement. I was looking at a NOCO product, I was looking at TACKLIFE and various other manufacturers, and it just so happens that I spoke with my daughter's boyfriend, and he purchased a TACKLIFE unit, and he ended up purchasing the TACKLIFE T8-Newer. There was a modification to these units in 2020 to fix a couple things to make it a little bit easier to use, and I decided to go ahead and purchase one because he gave a pretty good review of it, saying that he was able to assist a neighbor in the parking lot where he lives and able to jumpstart the vehicle, and it was very quick and easy to do it. It worked well, and it only depleted the internal battery charge by about 1% or 2%, very small depletion of the battery charge. So I purchased this TACKLIFE T8, the yellow version, and he purchased the TACKLIFE T8, the green version. And I'm going to go through an unboxing, showing everything in there's a shrink wrap and then a brown box, and then the internal case, storage case that you normally would store it in. The unit it comes with, it also comes with a warranty card and manual and all the accessories. So I'll go through that in the unboxing section. I'll go through a few demonstrations, such as the 12-volt power port on this that has an adapter for the side of it here that plugs in here, and then you plug whatever a 12-volt device in. I use a tire inflator to see if it actually would supply enough amperage to run it, and it did. Then I go through and I'll show you the USB charging. It does have a regular charging port, this black one, 5 volts, 2.1 amps. Then it has a fast charge port, a 5 and 9 volt capable USB port. And then I'll go through some of the Jumpstart accessory features. This is the whole external device that you plug into this section here on the unit. And there's some great protections in this, and I'll go through the reverse polarity indication when you need to press the boost button and such, and give you an example of connecting it to a battery in my Caprice PPV and show you how you would use it to jumpstart. Now, I didn't actually have a depleted battery, so I'm relying on the information from my daughter's boyfriend, where it was a very low battery charge in the one that he jumpstarted, and it worked quite well. So I just want to disclose that up front. So I'll go through those demonstrations, and then at the end I'll come back with my final thoughts. This is the TACKLIFE T8-Newer as is listed on Amazon. It's the yellow version with the casing black and yellow. And on the outside it just states T8, but the listing is T8-Newer. There's another one that is listed as just T8. And on the outside, there isn't a whole lot on the outside of the box here. Some information on where it was made. So let's go ahead and open this up. I've already cut the seal on this end to make it a little easier here. And let's pull this out. And we have the carry case for it here, and again black and yellow. Let's open up the case. It's actually a fairly sturdy case, nice. Feels like it's somewhat crush resistant. Let's open this up. So we have the cables up here on the top end with a zipper closing that section in. We have a pad in between the two of them to preserve the cover of top of the Jumpstart pack itself. Let's go ahead and get the unit out of the covering here. On the top we have a compass, and on the side here we have the connection port for the Jumpstart accessory here. Now I'll close off and seal off. We have the on-off button, which when you turn it on, it will display the current charge level, and if there's no current draw after a period of time, it will actually turn off automatically. And the light switch here, there's a light at the end of it. So if I simply do a long press, it should turn on solid. If I press again, it should strobe light, then SOS, then off. If I do 2 presses, it does a red flashing mode. And single press to turn it off. Then we have an output USB port here. It's capable of 5 and 9 volts here. This is a 5 volt output up to 2.1 amps. This is the connection port for the 12 volt power port adapter. This is the input port for the charging facility for both the car charger and an AC charger, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn that off. So there isn't much else on the outside of that, so that's the unit itself. We do have the specifications on the bottom here. Again, 18,000 milliamp hour, 66.6 watt hours. Starting, it has 500 amps for 3 seconds and then 300 amps for 5 seconds. So there's that peak, the combined 500 and 300. So there's the peak current. The input volt is 15 volts, 1 amp, and it outputs 5 volts, 9 volts, 5 volts at 2.1 amps, and also 12 volts at 10 amps. So let's take a look at what's underneath the unit here. We have the user manual in multiple languages, showing you the definition of the various features of the device, the various cables that came with the unit, and then the LCD screen explanation, and how to charge it, and how to connect devices such as a cell phone or other USB charged device. And then some frequently asked questions. And we have this warranty card, and it does 30-day money-back guarantee. 30 days to 3 months will be replace a defective unit due to manufacturer faults, and that then 3 months to 24 months registered your product in our on our website to extend your warranty to 24 months. And so make sure you register the product if you're going to keep the unit. And then on the top side here, we have the cables. It has a zipper to enclose them. And the first one we get out here is, looks like the jump start cabling. And actually we have a USB cable here for output connectivity to a output from the device. Let's see if we can get other things out of here. We have the charge adapter for a 12 volt power port in your vehicle, and then that would connect into the input port here for the charging. And we have an AC power adapter for charging. It can take 4 to 6 hours depending on the charge level of the device to do a full charge. Again, that would connect to that same input power port adapter. And then we have the output power port adapter for devices that use a standard 12 volt power port adapter. So you can power those by connecting it to this port here, and then plug your device into that. And then we have the jump start connector. So that's the unit itself. I'm going to go ahead and do a initial charge to get it above the 85%. Let's see how long it takes to get to from 85% to 100%. I'm now going to charge the unit from the 85% charge level that it arrived with to 100%. I have the AC power adapter plugged in to the socket, and now I'm going to just simply plug it in. The manual doesn't say anything about this being in an on or off position for that particular operation. It looks like it might auto detect the fact that it's being supplied power, and the display will come on. And then it's showing that it's got power coming in, and it's, I believe, blinking because it's charging. So we're going to mark the time at this point and see how long it takes before it reaches 100%. I started the stopwatch app on my iPad to time this, and it went from 85% to 100% in just under 1 hour and 9 minutes. So the overall charge from a completely depleted battery to a fully charged battery I could see taking 4 to 6 hours, and a car charger would take even longer. So keep that in mind when you need to charge it. I started off this test by deflating the tire from its normal 37-38 psi range down to 30, and at a 100% charge the voltage level is 12.37, and it does drop at the same rate as the charge level of the internal battery. So that's a concern for powering devices as the internal battery depletes its internal charge level. But we were able to start off with 100% charge and run this tire inflator, and this is using the 12 volt 10 amp power port, and it successfully ran the tire inflator. I set it first to 36 or 37 psi if I remember right, and then I terminated that and checked the tire pressure, and my tire gauge and the tire inflator disagree by about half a pound. So then I set it a little bit higher, and I'm gonna run the tire inflator again here to inflate it up to like 38 or 39 psi. So it seemed to run that just fine. I had no problem with the power coming out of the TACKLIFE T8-Newer unit. It does decrease the charge level from the initial 100% down to 97% when I'm done here running it at 2 different times, but it did perform the operation as necessary, and it seems to work. So, but keep your internal battery charged to a high level to make sure you have 12 volts available on that port. Now let's talk about the USB charging ports on the TACKLIFE T8. Again, this is a T8-Newer model, which was updated in 2020. And on the side here, we have the 2 USB ports. And I'm going to demonstrate fast charging versus regular charging. And I'm going to turn the unit off and turn it back on to refresh it, showing that we have 98% charge level of the internal battery. I have a USB-A to Type-C cable here. Let's refresh that screen. And we're going to look, I'm going to actually overlay the screen mirroring of this on the video here. Right now we're at 80%, so I'm going to plug in to the fast charging port. And we're going to see on the phone that it does state fast charging with a time estimate coming up. We will see that this is blinking 5 volts out, and then quick charge flashes on and then goes off. The phone seems to acknowledge that it is in fast charge mode. You do need to have a USB cable that's fast charge compatible. This is the one I have that seems to be working the best. I'm getting some more, but if it changes, I'll let you know in the comment section. But this is in fast charge mode, so if we pull that out, it should, in theory, reduce the amount of time necessary for this to charge. And then over here, if we plug it into the 2.1 amp 5 volt port, we shall see that the phone is stating that it is charging. It doesn't state fast charging. So the charging rate would be a slower pace for that particular operation on that particular phone. So let's unplug that from the phone. And I want to demonstrate the ability to use this power bank. Let's put it back into the fast charge to see if that makes any difference here. I have my Skydio 2 dual battery charge pack combo here. And if there's enough wattage available, it should charge them both at the same time. So if I plug it into the side, we should see the lights come on. We have one here and one there, and this one went off. So there's not enough wattage being output at this point to charge both simultaneously, but it will charge both of these in series, in sequence. So it is a way to recharge your drone batteries as well. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you need some emergency charging of your drone batteries, this is one potential emergency way to do it. You may want to plan ahead if you're using drones out in remote areas. You may want to get a larger battery bank for that particular purpose, but in a pinch, you can use it in that way as well. We just completed the tire inflator test, and I wanted to show you the voltage level afterwards. And the unit is currently off, and I have that 12 volt power port adapter again, and plug it into the 12 volt out. And by default, with the unit off, for this particular port, it is off until you turn the unit on. So let's turn that on. And we are at 12.14 volts according to this display right here, 97%. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that off. You see the power went off. Thing to keep in mind though, if you're going to be using the jump start port, or when you're not using the jump start port, you need to make sure that this rubber cover is over this, because the terminals within this connection are actually powered all of the time. I have my digital multimeter over here. Demonstrate the fact that there's power being provided here all the time. And again, the unit is off. Again, the light is not on. As far as charge level, that switch is off. Everything's off at this point, but there's still power here. So when you're not using this, make sure this rubber cap is fully in place. If you end up losing that cap, make sure you somehow cover this, but there is a hinged portion to it here to keep it connected to the battery pack itself, but make sure it's fully covered by inserting that when not in use. All right, let's take a look at the jumpstart accessory itself and get that in view. We have the reverse polarity red light here. We have the correct polarity ready to go, green indicator light, and we have the boost button and light. This, as far as instructions on the bottom, it says don't press the boost without the battery being connected. I will do that for a moment just to show you about the switching of the power on and off to the connections here at the end. But in general, you're not supposed to turn on the boost function unless it's connected to the battery fully, for a couple of reasons here, and I'll explain that in just a moment. Don't connect the clamps together. It says it's only for 12-volt vehicles. The red goes to positive, the black goes to the negative. The green light on, when that's on steady by itself, you're ready to go ahead and start the engine. When the red light is on with buzzing, so basically it's detected a reverse polarity situation. You've connected the red to the negative and the black to the positive. You need to reverse that and get it back to the green light, or the situation where you need to press the boost to get the green light. So if the green light is blinking with buzzing, then you need to press the boost according to this to go ahead and then start the engine. You must do that within 30 seconds at that point. And then if there's absolutely no lights, just like it is now, then you need to press, assuming that the connectors are properly attached to the terminals on the battery, make sure there's no corrosion or junk that it might need to be better seated. You might need to wiggle them to get a better connection. And if that's still the case, then you press and hold the boost until the green light comes on, and then you start the engine within 30 seconds. Now I'm going to insert the jumpstart accessory into the battery pack, and I've opened the rubber cap here. And again, the connector has a particular one rounded end that only goes in one way. So the taper goes towards the accessory ports and switch over on the side here, but this rubber cap does kind of get in the way. So you'll see from the side here, you press that fully in, and that rubber cap is right there. So a little tight there, but might be a concern. It'd be nice if this were on the bottom or over on this side to get it out of the way, but so be it. And on the top here, we have the fact that, again, I didn't turn the switch on. It's still in the off position, but the charge level indication did turn on, still at 97%. And we're at the point where there are no lights on. And I want to show you that there is no power being provided at this point in time to the two cable ends here. There's actually 1/100th of a volt there. Now, for demonstration purposes only, I don't have it connected to the battery. I want to show you that there is still voltage going out here if you go activate the boost feature. And again, the unit is off, but it's still powered here. So I press and hold that. You hear the relay click, the light is on. In theory, if this were connected to the battery, go ahead and jump start it. Let's demonstrate the fact that there is power here now. And then after a period of inactivity, no draw of current here, it will actually detect that and then turn turn the relay off here to stop supplying power. Should hear it in a moment. And once it does that, we should get another test in here. See, it just turned off that light. You heard the relay click. And there's no power there again. So your objective is to connect these to the two battery terminals, positive and negative. You should hopefully see a green light. And if you do, you're ready to start the engine at that point. And if necessary, with a low charge level, you'll have to press the boost, or if it's a green flashing light, then you may have to press the boost at that point according to the instructions on the side. And then when you're done, you need to remove the accessory. You need to straight pull the thing out from the unit, wiggling it a little bit. And again, since there is power available at those two connectors, make sure you fully seat this rubber cap back in place to fully protect that port. And then, depending on the charge level, you may need to go ahead and charge that the next time you're near the AC adapter, where you can use the AC adapter like I originally charged it here, or you can use the 12-volt power port charger for it. It's just going to take a much longer period of time to charge the pack with that particular approach. I would recommend the AC adapter. And I showed you that time test where I went from 85% to 100%, and it took a little over an hour. So a slower pace than that with this port, 12-volt power port adapter, would certainly not be the preferable way to do it, but you can do it if necessary. Like you start off on your trip and you get your battery vehicle situation corrected, and then you can go ahead and plug this into a power port to recharge this on your trip. So that if that's all you got, go ahead and do it that way. When you're going to jumpstart the vehicle, you insert the jumpstart accessory into the battery pack, and it shows that it's 100% charged at this point. Then you connect the two clips here, one to the positive and the other to the negative. You do have to be able to span the distance between the battery terminals, so these cables are just long enough for a battery connection. And then it illuminates the green light. There's no beeping or anything, so we're ready to go ahead and start. After starting the vehicle, go ahead and remove the battery pack. And make sure to put any covers back in place necessary. And address the charge level of the battery by either driving the vehicle or replacing the battery if necessary if you have a defective battery. And then we'll remove the jump start accessory, and then make sure to put that cover back in place. Here's a battery that was removed from my project vehicle, the 2014 Chevrolet Caprice PPV that's right behind us right here. This was the auxiliary battery, and it was very low charge level. When I purchased the vehicle, I ended up removing the auxiliary battery system from that ex-police vehicle. And let's look at the multimeter here and see what the voltage is of this. 5.45. So it's very low. So this should be a situation where it shouldn't automatically go to the green, and we have to push the boost button. So let's go ahead and connect the cables. Black to negative and red to positive. And see, there's nothing on here at this point, and we still don't have any voltage up here. It's actually just a hair lower than it was before. So now we're going to go ahead and press the boost. Here, the relay click. And now if we check the voltage, we can see that the jumpstart battery pack is supplying voltage. And now we're ready to go to start the engine if this were connected as the main battery. And then once you got the engine running, you would then pull the cables off. And then this should, since we didn't actually jump started it, there was no actual large pull on it, so it didn't automatically pull off right away like we did when we did the jump start, but it does time out. The next thing I want to show is the reverse polarity protection in this device, where if you connect it incorrectly, the red light should come on and the alert tone should be presented to you. So let's go ahead and incorrectly hook this up. The red to the negative, black to the positive. And we have the red reverse polarity light on with the alert tone present. So that's to let you know you've hooked it up backwards. So that's that feature. And then again, when you're done using this particular feature, you pull the unit out from the jump pack and make sure you put the cap back over it to protect the terminals that are in there that are powered all the time. Well, that's the TACKLIFE T8-Newer Jumpstart Battery Pack, the updated model for 2020. There is a T8 model that was released a couple of years ago, but this is the T8-Newer, so make sure you look for the T8-Newer if you're wanting to get this particular unit. Now let's go over the pros and cons. Let's start off with the pros. It has a large capacity lithium battery, 18,000 milliamp hours and 66.6 watt hours. It seems to be able to jumpstart several tens of times and be able to charge phones 5 or 6 times. I believe the example was in the user manual. So it has a decent internal battery capacity. The cranking amps available during jumpstart mode is 800 max. That's made up of 500 amps for 3 seconds, and then additional 300 amps are available for a total of 5 seconds. So that seems to be a reasonably good capacity. It should jumpstart a vehicle, according to the manufacturer, that has up to a 7-liter gas engine or a 5.5-liter diesel engine. The case itself is nice in the hand. It has like a rubberized case material here. It seems like it's not going to slip out of your hand easily. The unit is fairly lightweight overall, and one of the improvements in the 2020, the T8-Newer, is you no longer need to have the button in the on mode to charge the unit. So that was one of the things I guess I was confusing owners of the original T8, that they would plug it in to charge and it wouldn't charge, and you had to have it in the on position. This one doesn't require that, as I showed in this particular video. The status screen on this one has a dark background compared to the white background of the earlier one. It was a little bit harder to see that in some of the videos I was looking for the earlier reviews of this product, but I like the darker background, personal preference. It has the 5 and 9 volt fast charging port, so if you really need to charge something that's a USB charge-based product, you can do that, and as I demonstrated with my example phone, that one will go into fast charging mode when plugged into that orange port. The 12-volt power port works and does supply the proper amount of amperage to run that tire inflator, so the 12-volt 10-amp rating seems to be reasonably correct. The LED light actually seems to work well enough to supply usable light. I went out into the garage this morning and had it completely dark in the garage and turned on the light, and I could see reasonably well, so if you need to use this while jump starting your vehicle, that seems to be a decent enough feature. Okay, so some of the negatives or cons of this particular thing: the jumpstart cables are really short. Now, I know this is a feature of a lot of the jumpstart packs, and they'll say that it's required so the cables don't get hot and you have to be very short in length. But you can only use this really by jumpstarting a battery where the battery posts are, of course, near each other, or if the jumpstart terminals on your vehicle, such as the actual jumpstart location on the Caprice, is up in the engine bay. It has a post on the driver's side fender well. So if those posts are close enough, you can connect those. But in my Chevrolet SSR, my pickup, the jumpstart posts for the positive is over on the passenger interior side of the engine bay, and the negative location they document to use is over by the alternator. This won't work. So it'd be nice if there were some even heavier gauge wires and longer length going forward in any of the jumpstart battery packs. None of them seem to have that particular feature, so I can't hold that against necessarily this particular product as a con. All of them seem to be of that length at this point. The power is always present on the port on the side here, so make sure that the cap is in place for this particular one. As I showed you in the earlier part of the video, when I tested this with everything off, it still has the power available here, so make sure this port is covered with this rubber cap all the times while stored or in use, unless you're jump starting it. Then you insert the accessory to do the jump start. The 12-volt power output, as I was able to demonstrate, it showed that it has, with 100% full charge in this battery pack, it has about 12.4 volts output voltage on the 12-volt power port. And then as the percentage of the internal battery pack decreases, it doesn't maintain that voltage, it actually decreases as well. This will become a problem when the internal charge is below 50 or 40%. You'll get to the point where whatever device that requires 12 volts won't have enough power to run. So if you're going to be using the 12-volt power port at all, make sure you fully charge and keep that charge on a regular basis. Otherwise, it's not going to be very useful for you. I don't intend to use this for my tire inflator because that actually could plug into a 12-volt power port in the vehicle, but I just wanted to demonstrate the fact that it could supply the power if it was fully charged, and it did. And the charge times are somewhat long. I showed you the example when I received the unit, it had 85% charge, and then to get it to 100% charge, it was like an hour and 8 minutes or so to get it fully charged, if I recall correctly. So that seemed like an extended period of time. It does document that it will be 4.5 hours using the AC power adapter, and it may be even longer when using the 12-volt power port adapter if you're charging in your vehicle. So that's why you want to go every 2 to 3 months and make sure you pull it out of the vehicle and recharge it to get 100%. Make sure it should be holding the charge. So if you're not using it, you should see the same charge level or reasonably similar charge level. And if not, top it off on a quarterly basis like I do in my vehicles. That would be recommended. And the registering of the product actually extends the warranty features. The 3-month period for warranty replacement, if you register it, is extended to 6 months. And then according to the card that's included here, that was in the box, this particular warranty card, it does state that the 3 to 24 months register your product on our website to extend your warranty to 24 months. So make sure if you find that you like the product and you're going to keep it, make sure that you go to the TACKLIFE website and register the product for that full 24-month warranty. So hopefully you found this video to be helpful. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload new videos just like this one to the channel. Look in the description section for additional information on this particular product. I will have affiliate links to the T8-Newer, the yellow and the green version down there. So if you're going to be buying one of these, it's a great way of supporting the channel if you can use one of those affiliate links for Amazon. I will make a commission, but at no extra cost to you. I was able to purchase this one for just under $70 plus tax. When I purchased this, it may have been a special at that point, but they're normally in this $79 range for the regular price, but I was able to get it for like $69 plus tax. So check out the links below for that, and check out my Amazon influencer store. I'll be adding this to that as well. That has all the tools and products I've used on my channel, and maybe there's something else that you'll find of interest there. So thanks for coming to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.